Father, thank you for all the many blessings that you have provided your church. As we meet together, help us to make wise choices and give us strength and insight to reach out to our community and show them the power of your love. In Jesus' name, amen. A couple of admin things. There is an attendance sheet around. I think most of you have signed it, but if you have not, just raise your hand and we'll get it to you. There is a copy of the bylaws on the table all the way in the back. If you have not signed it, please do so. If you have any questions, please see me after the meeting. And with that, we have the first item of business. In the package that you have is a copy of the meeting minutes from our May meeting. So if you would look through it, when you're satisfied, I'll entertain a motion for either amendments or for approval. I have a motion that we accept the meeting minutes as written, and I have a second. All in favor? Say aye. Say aye. Opposed? So moved. By the way, this was put in not by artificial intelligence. The meetings were written in by questionable intelligence, which means that I did it. So if there are any problems, you can see me after the meeting. Next item is the financial reports. You'll find that most of this meeting is really just my show, so Uh, I want to point out that you have a copy of the contributions report. It's on the back of the agenda. As you can see, we're running about $14,000 more than we did last year. And I want to thank everyone for their generous contributions. And I'm sure that Wynn will figure out a way that we can spend it next year. For our financials, we're doing very well. And again, I want to thank everyone who's involved in that. We have a fairly large financial team of counters and people who manage their individual accounts. As we heard this morning in the sermon, we have a bunch of very good stewards running the different committees. And right now, our cash and checking and savings is totaling more than $199,000. That's high, and we will spend that. At the end of July, the funds in the Truist main operating account were mostly limited to our restricted funds. At Truist, we had $64K, LCEF $52K, and we had a 12-month CD now, which has $50K. Actual expenses are below budget. So far, it's around $87,000 year to date, with the primary items being maintenance, stewardship, and environment. Our expenses this year are lower than last year, primarily because we haven't done all the maintenance projects that we have on our list. Are there any questions? Pastor?
I don't know if it's been mentioned yet, we have a birthday girl in our midst. Everybody's like, huh? Who? We know Marlene is 16 times, well, she's 16 again today. Let's sing her a happy birthday. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marlene. Happy birthday to you. Awesome. Actually, it's a very special 90-year milestone, so you don't look like it, let me tell you. Thank you again for allowing me to lead, and specifically this last time around, leading with Air Force duty. You know, I wish I could go into all the details of what happened this year down in Shreveport, and some of it, well, I'd have to take you in the other room and take care of you, okay? But it was very eventful, and I learned more about systems, not computer systems, but communications with other people who do jobs and who are higher up. And, you know, reporting to the 4-star was fun this year. And I got to sit in a meeting with him, and he told me good job. So, you know, I guess when a 4-star says good job, you're doing okay. But along with that, just to give you an overview, somebody asked me, well, what do you like best about being a chaplain in the Air Force? You know, is it the people? Is it the chapels that you get to help out and so forth? And since we're in a command level, we take care of all of the chapels and the teams and the chaplain corps underneath Global Strike. So that's like 8 bases scattered throughout the United States. And one of our main concerns is, you know, the people stuck in the silos that have to maintain these Minutemen missiles, and they're ready to punch the button if need be. You know, how are they doing with their welfare? How are they doing with their family? You know, because they pull these really long shifts. So, that's always a priority, and distributing the money to make sure that, when it comes to military marriages, it isn't always a good end of story. So we want to make sure that the money goes to helping fulfill the fact that, well, you got to know God stuck you together. God's going to pull you through it. So, we're in that kind of realm of distributing money that way and making sure that they're taken care of. So I take care of chaplains, chapels, budgets, and the greater mission that way. So, but again, it's a joy, and I always mention you guys when I'm over there. So thank you for that. In terms of my minutes, you can read through them all. Big points are basically coming up, are scoops from groups. Again, we do not believe that it's an add-on with community groups. And then here's our numeric goal. We don't set it with anything else in terms of me. I don't even look at attendance. What I look at is how many people are in community groups. And my goal is to get everybody into a community group. So we're starting new groups. Thanks for the leaders who are stepping up and starting those groups. If you are not in a group, please just explore it. Even if you don't walk away, you can learn a lot more about how valuable they are. And then our food drive that I mentioned, one more Sunday. And then I think finally is we're going to be ramping up some things. We're turning a corner regarding COVID. I've been using curriculum with our children's ministry because we didn't use it during COVID, so I've been catching up. So we're going to making a couple of expenditures in terms of curriculum. So we're seeing the after effect of COVID, and we're finally catching up to a norm. And we may just have enough children coming on Sunday morning that we can split Pingoland into 2 groups again. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think other than that, thank you to the volunteers who are stepping forward and making sure that our ministries keep going. Patriots Day, yes. Did anybody know what we do on Patriots Day? That's right. We deliver thankfulness to the guys who actually and ladies, because there are some on that team. Fire Station 7, they sit there and they wait for the fires. They wait for the calls for being a paramedic. Hopefully that they won't get, but you know what? They serve an incredible duty. Some of them are volunteer. And we just basically go over and say, thank you for who you are. We want to love on them because, well, they often get forgotten. And we want to make sure that they don't. Oftentimes they have come over here in emergency's sake. So we just want to get that prepared. After the food drive, we're going to be advertising next Sunday, starting next Sunday, of all the treats and food that you can bring over. You know what they love most? The really like beef jerky stuff and Cliff Bars, the meaty stuff. Yeah, they like the sugary stuff, but they like the stuff that's going to sustain them more. So we'll put that out next Sunday, and then we're going to walk over and again just basically say thank you and applaud them for being patriots. And that, of course, is in remembrance of 9/11. So that's 10th of September. We're going to do that. And then following Sunday is our startup of Converge, Pingoland, Extreme, and we're on to the ministry year. So lots to come. We got some things brewing in the mix, maybe some big larger church events that are going to be done after Be Rich for the community. So pay attention to that. We're in a good spot. I'm really happy where our church is, and we're growing. I have to go to a community group get-together because we're saying goodbye to the Slimers. Slimer family, they live in Hampstead. He is being transitioned in the military over to Washington State. So we get people in, we love on them, they leave. We don't want them to leave, but when they do, we see new people come in. And I just met somebody who came from my last church, and she's like, hi, I moved to Southport. I'm like, wow, I just saw you in Maryland when I was at that other church. So we're getting new people in. We're getting at a point where we need to grow not just here, but we need to grow that way out into the community. So more to come on that. So good stuff happening. And again, thank you. Any questions that I can answer quickly? Yes, Sir Bob. What is that? I am working on that. I put in my report that I'm working on the visual aspect of projecting on the wall. I never wanted it to be a wall, but we never got to a point of actually having a projector, so we're slowly getting into being more professional. Yes, I'm looking into actually having a background, a special screen that would actually take the ambient light and kind of dissolve it. So we'll be able to see the words better. I'm going to be playing with potentially making the words larger. I don't know how large I can go, but we want to get better with it, so yes. But again, it's going to be slow, so all the patience in the world is greatly appreciated. Well, and that was the issue. What does the pulpit serve in terms of being there? And it was in the way of a lot of things. So we're still toying with what this is. So again, it's all about experimentation, and we'll see where this heads. Yeah, and then I wish I had a definite of what the future would look like. So, okay, thank you. Elder AJ.
All right, good morning, congregation. I guess I have a couple things. We recently updated our care group assignments for all the elders, and you might have gotten a card of if that changed or if you're a new member, who that is. So if you're not sure, just go ahead and ask me or one of the elders, and we'll make sure that you know exactly who your elder is to go to for questions and concerns and all that. So our prayers were answered. We had a volunteer sign or request to be an elder, Harley. So he was nominated and accepted, and President agreed, so we'll be adding him to our group of elders. So thank you, Harley. Appreciate that. And that's pretty much all I have. If you have any questions for me, no questions? All right, thanks.
All right, good morning. Our guest services team is kept busy this summer, and I have to thank Bruce and Cecilia and Wendy Elliott and Harley for their extra help while Pastor was away this summer. They took care of the lights and fans and clearing the sidewalk and lighting the candles and making sure the service was streaming on the nursery TV, all these little details that usually Pastor does before the service. So I appreciate them filling in for him. Thank you to the talented Wendy Elliott for creating the perfect gift holders for the Father's Day pins, and to Wendy Smith for making the copies, and the Zeman brothers for helping hand them out to our Messiah men on Father's Day. Our guest services team has had the opportunity to welcome 24 guests since our last meeting in May. Those are the folks who've signed the guest book. Some were here visiting family, like for special celebrations, a baptism, a 90th birthday. Some were here for a vacation, some beach time. 3 guests were founding members of Messiah. Maybe you saw Elizabeth Smith or Randy and Gloria Hanvelt. And then we've had several more visitors who've moved to the area and they're looking for a new church. It's great seeing our ushers greeting the visitors at the door and leading them to our information center. And those volunteers give them a second warm welcome and share helpful information about our congregation. But it's also wonderful to see our members taking time to introduce themselves and getting acquainted with someone new that's sitting next to them or visiting with them during coffee and combo. So thank you all for making Messiah a friendly place to worship.
So next item is the fellowship. Carol's not here, but she sent me about half a dozen things she wanted me to say. So first, she wanted to thank everyone who's been providing meals for the Spike family. Both Karen and Fred are most grateful. As part of this, what she's doing is forming a Helping Hands group. She's placed flyers in everyone's mailbox and to explain what that was about, and there will be a sign-up sheet in the information center. Basically, right now we are taking volunteers to have a prepared meal, which we then provide to the Spikes. Both Karen and Fred are doing reasonably well, and they do appreciate the assistance. She says here that the date has been set. Our yearly craft fair and bake sale will be Saturday, October 22nd. It'll be from 8 to noon. And basically, she's looking for all crafters to consider items that would be donated. She's also looking for bakers to provide treats and desserts. All money raised by this event will go to the renovation fund. And basically, she encourages all members to come and see what we have laid out on the tables. There's usually a pretty good selection. And we actually have a lot of people from the community who come to see what we have on our baked goods table, because we have a lot of good bakers in this church. Other than that, she's basically says we're looking for volunteers to help for setting up the tables and to help with cleanup after the Saturday to set up for Sunday. And rumors are that there'll be a pizza lunch for all the workers. Next up is the trustees report. I spoke with the contractor 2 weeks ago about the renovation for the fellowship hall. I think I explained that our approach is to basically take a piece at a time. So the next piece that we're going to be working on is the bathroom. And for right now, we're looking at retiling. We're looking at making the bathroom Americans with Disabilities Act compliant. We are going to get new commodes and new ceiling. That'll be for both bathrooms. We're still negotiating on some of the specifics, and I will probably have a special meeting when I get the butcher bill and we know how much it's going to cost. So I am still looking for one more volunteer for a trustee. Many hands make the work go smoother. And we're also going to be looking to power wash the sidewalk. It's about every 2 or 3 year evolution. What we'd be looking for is people who actually have power washers. And we'll get together and do it sometime when it's cooler, because it's just way too hot to do it now. Under the president, Rebecca Mabine has volunteered to be the recording secretary. No more questionable intelligence to make up the report. And I immediately appointed her so that she couldn't escape. And I would like to place her name in nomination. Do I have a second? I have a second. All in favor? And opposed? You can't oppose yourself. All right. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Uh, as you know, I always sit here and say the same thing. Volunteers are what actually make this church move forward. We have a fine tradition of us doing things pretty much by ourselves, and we only tap into outside contractors and stuff when it gets a little bit further than what we are capable of doing, like having a roof blow off during a hurricane. Right now, we're looking for more volunteers for counters. We always need counters, and for the cleaning crew. So if you're interested, please see me after the meeting. Under old business, at our last meeting, we approved $10,000 to find to help a church that has undergone, some type of disaster. Well, the Lord, I guess, provides, but we've been in contact with Emmanuel Congregation and School, which is in, oh boy, I'm going to mispronounce this, Kahului, Maui. They are, talking about in the town of Lahaina, which was destroyed by fire. They had a preaching station. That station is now lost, and at least 2 of their member families were affected directly. They have a website, and if you're interested, I can give that to you after the meeting. They are collecting supplies and taking money to assist in the members of their congregation, as well as trying to recover this station that they had in Maui. So my proposal is that we take that $10,000 that was already allocated, and we give that to the Maui Relief. Now, I've been approached by some members who have said that they'd like to also provide money. Anyone interested in donating money to this or to Lutheran Charities, please, if you can put the check or somehow designate that this is towards the Maui Fund, and we will go ahead and provide it. We will most likely send them the money fairly quickly, within the next couple of weeks, but we'll keep the fund open. And we currently have about $30,000 that we put in the budget for last year to help other churches. The $10,000 is going to come out of that line item, and we'll look at this again in February or in our November meeting, and we may make a decision to either help them, or as we're still in hurricane season, we'll provide those funds to someone else that's equally in need. I'd like to point out that when we had a need during our hurricane incident, the member churches were very, very generous and helped us out immensely. And if you remember, we had a group come from Texas in a van, and they brought supplies that filled this room, and we were able to distribute that to our community. So churches helping churches is a long-standing tradition in the Christian religion. So again, I propose that we allocate $10,000 to the Emmanuel Congregation and School. Do I have a second? I have a second. All in favor? Opposed? So moved. Does anyone else want to make some comments? If not, we'll move on to new business. Is there any new business that someone wants to bring up? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. It's been moved, second and seconded. All in favor? Opposed?